8 weeks before we launched Crush, Mum got diagnosed with stage 4 terminal cancer. So this is episode 1 of my new series, Building Crush Supplements. I've always wanted to document the journey of building a supplement brand, and I've done that to some extent, but I started to realize I was not documenting enough or in its entirety. And it's always been my goal to show the reality of what it's like building a brand, because there's so many people online these days that show the highs or the good life. But the reality is running a business is not all highs, and it's definitely not all good life. So in this episode 1, I'm going to take you back to how I first started getting passionate about business, how I got a degree in business, got a job in recruitment, quit my job, launched Crush, and what the last 605 days have been like since we launched in November 2023. Now, if you're watching this video, chances are you want to launch your own business at some point. So make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay fully updated. And if you want to see any other sort of content from me behind the scenes of Crush, just leave it in the comments below. So I've always studied business at school, studied it at college, and I went and got a degree in it at Winchester University. So I've studied business for a while. My mum has also run multiple successful businesses in property. She worked in sales previously. That's one of the reasons that I got into sales. So I've always kind of been around business. And when I was about 16 or 17, started reading personal development books, started watching people run business. I tried a car cleaning business. I tried online coaching. I tried drop shipping. I've just been so interested in building a business for a long time. And I think that comes from wanting a real life of freedom and not being capped by a salary. So I moved to Winchester in 2018 when I was 18 years old, got a degree in business, lived there. And when I got my degree then, that was all done, and I moved into recruitment. That was my first job in the corporate world. Met some amazing people, made some really good connections, and learned some really good skills dealing with stakeholders, managing deadlines, working under pressure, and I earned a decent amount of money. But I got 2 years in, I'd had a couple of promotions. I think I was 23. I just thought, you know what, I'm enjoying this too much. Now, at this point, I still wanted to run a business. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew I had to do it now, otherwise I'd get trapped in this life of recruitment, which would probably have been fine and I'd have been happy, but I wouldn't have scratched that itch of launching a brand. So I was driving home for Easter one day. I was on the phone to my mate Jordan, and I said to him, man, I know this weekend is going to be the weekend that I think of the business idea. I don't know why, I just had a feeling. And that's no cap. Genuinely, I just knew that this weekend I was going to put real time aside and think of it. So I was at home, went back to see my mum, stayed at her house, and we were chatting with a coffee, just brainstorming business ideas. And we looked up at a bottle of AU vodka on the wall, and we thought, AU was started 20 minutes from where we live in South Wales. They've not done anything drastically different. They've tweaked the product slightly, they've branded it better, they've made a really good brand out of it, they've added value to customers. And we thought, you know what, I'm into the gym, Mum's into the gym, we both love health and fitness and supplements, and I like the thought of helping people progress to be the best version of themselves. We started thinking, we started at this idea of organic protein powder, started looking into it, realized the cost for organic protein powder was quite high after doing some research, and then thought, okay, that's probably not going to work, the market's probably not there for it. And then we started thinking of supplements to help people focus while working and studying. And I thought, you know what, I don't actually know of a brand that helps people in the gym, but also helps them work and study. And that's when we thought of Crush. But our slogan is Find Your Edge. We want to help people find your edge in every aspect of life, gym work, study, and sport. That was our initial concept. So we started reaching out to suppliers, we started getting quotes, we started looking at costs for how to develop a brand and how it would all work, because it's not something that I'd ever done before. Mum's never run this sort of business before. So we were really looking into everything and seeing how feasible it would be. Now, me and Mum are 50-50 in the business. So she put in a chunk of money, I put in some money, but this was with the view of me running the day-to-day and Mum being more behind the scenes, helping with strategy and helping with product development, managing the numbers for the business. She backed it, she saw the vision, she didn't want too much involvement, and that was the way the dynamic was going to be, so we went ahead. So started developing the products, started testing samples, spoke to suppliers, started making the social media, and things were going really well until something happened. And 8 weeks before we launched Crush, Mum got diagnosed with stage 4 terminal cancer. So we'd just gotten back from a family holiday. She was quite unwell. We didn't know what was going on. So I drove her to hospital, and they said that her cancer had returned from 2018 and it had spread to her liver, lung and bones. And it was stage 4 terminal. And the life long expectancy at this point is probably about 8 to 12 weeks. She was literally on death's doors, and this was 8 weeks before the business was meant to launch. So she started chemotherapy, not just in the NHS. She did tons of research, credit to her, took life into her hands, not accepting that the NHS said you've got 8 to 12 weeks left to live. So she started flying out to Germany for literally life-saving chemotherapy, got super, super ill. We didn't know what was going to happen with her at this point. It was a really crazy time. And I took the reins of the business and launched Crush. Basically solo. Mum was still there behind the scenes, but we had the launch party. Mum was going through treatment and products started selling. Now we were doing pop-up stores at gyms and universities. This was to meet people and to get content and to push the Crush brand out there. I was hammering content on social media and things were going well. It did take a while for sales to start picking up. I'd probably say it was 6 months of doing maybe 5 orders a day. Some days we do 0 orders, and it was quite strange because I thought that having a good brand and great products to help people in the gym and work and study. We had a pre-workout, we had creatine, we had our Clarity nootropic powder to help you focus and to develop your brain function. And tying that to my story of being a young guy that quit his job, and tying in like my personal story, as well as what Mum was battling and her drive, trying to bring that into the brand as well. It didn't pick up as quickly as I thought. So we got about 6 to 12 months in, and I was thinking, okay, we're really not doing much here. We're doing maybe 3-4 grand a month. 5 grand a month was the biggest sales revenue we did for the first 12 months, but I was hammering work. I was working all hours of the day, early morning, late nights. The stress was, it was pretty high. So that was the first 12 months in business, and it got to, say, the start of 2025, and me and Mum were just thinking, right, the money in the bank is gone. Sales are not really picking up to a level that we need. Something needs to change. So we were having meetings and we realized that my financial tracking in the business was not great. I didn't really have a hold on the numbers. I didn't know what our margins were. I didn't know what our day-to-day figures were. I do like a recap at the end of the month and we get some loose stats, but I was going more off revenue than net profit. So we really dialed in on those numbers and tracking. And today I do financial reviews every single day. I know exactly what products are selling, at what level, and how much money we're making. Mum went through treatment. She absolutely smashed it. And now at this point, she's doing incredibly well. She looks amazing. She looks completely different from how she first looked when she started treatment. And that is testament to her. And she is one of my biggest inspirations pushing through business, because to work is a pleasure. It's a privilege to be able to work. And Mum's whole situation has really made me realize that. She's more involved in the business now. I'm still doing the day-to-day. We've sold out of our pre-workout. We've stopped our creatine and Clarity nootropic because they sold out and they came to their best before end date. So our main products right now are our tablet and capsule range. So we've got collagen, electrolytes, lion's mane, shilajit, and vitamin D3 and K2. We sell this in a bundle called the Ultimate Health Bundle, and we sell them individually. So the last 6 months since we started locking in on the numbers and really looking at the strategy and operating the business at a much higher level, revenue has increased massively. And the real reason for that is because we started pushing TikTok Shop. Now, 8 months ago, I had no idea really what TikTok Shop was, but I knew it was a big opportunity and I was hearing about it everywhere. So I started looking into it, started researching, and just started posting videos. I think we've now posted 600 videos on TikTok. It's our biggest revenue stream without a doubt. We do a couple £100 a day through TikTok, and over the month now that's working out at between 10 and 20 grand. In May, we did our biggest month ever. I think it was a £23,000 month, which absolutely blew my head off. We've had to hire 2 guys part-time to help with packing because I can't manage it all on my own. And also having these guys in part-time, shout out to Keen and Kai, means that if I need to go away for a weekend or I've got an event or a birthday, I can go away for a day or 2 and they can come in and they can manage. So that's been massively helpful. So the business has kind of gone from this rocky state and it's now growing really nicely. I need to keep that momentum. I need to keep posting content. And we've also got something new in the pipeline. Let me just show you samples here. I can't tell you too much about what they are, but we're currently developing a new product because, like I said, we sold out of creatine, Clarity, and pre-workout, so we don't really have like a main product, and I want Crush to have something that it's really known for. So this product, we're developing it right now, currently talking to suppliers, looking at costs, getting the taste right, and then that launch is going to happen. Now in the next few weeks, I'm going to be making a video on exactly what that product is. I'm going to show you the whole development process. And I've had a couple of comments recently asking me to tell you how to find manufacturers, how to find suppliers, and how to actually develop a product. So when I tell you about this new product, I'll go into all of that good stuff in more detail. So I hope you've taken some insight from episode 1 of Building Crush. This is what the Crush brand stands for. New product coming out soon. It's been a very up and down year and a half, but we're in a really good spot now, and the last 6 months have been flying. So episode 2, it could be a day in the life. Like I say, there's the new product development video coming soon, and every single week I'm going to release a new episode, whether it's sharing a win with you, sharing a loss, sharing something that I've learned. I'm going to make it the most raw entrepreneur series on YouTube. No one is going to be showing as much as I show, and I'm doing it with the view of showing you exactly what it's like running a business, so that if you want to run a company at some point, you can hopefully take some insight from this, because this is the sort of content that I wish I could have watched when I wanted to run a company. So if you've made it this far, make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave any comments below for the sort of content that you want to see, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.